Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for checking the video out. Today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today. So before we dive into these topics, do me a favor, if you end up enjoying the video or finding it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It helps the videos out more than you know. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. We're starting here with a report that claims new PS5 bundles are due in February of this year. And these bundles are going to feature two DualSense controllers. Reading from PlayStation Universe, they say according to a listing on EB Games Australia, Sony is prepping the release of two new PS5 bundles for release in February. The new bundles apply to the standard PS5 and the digital-only edition, and unlike previous bundles, will include two DualSense controllers. The pair are listed as CFI 1216A and CFI 1216B and include the 6nm chips. The release date is listed specifically as February 3rd, 2023. So I'm sure many of you listening to this already have a PS5 by now, but for those who maybe don't and are still hoping to get one sometime this year, I figured you would want to be aware of this bundle, or maybe you could let a family member who you know is trying to get a PS5 or a friend know that this is a new bundle that's coming out, one that will feature two DualSense controllers. But we are moving on to the next topic, and this one is very interesting to me. I have a report here from VGC that says Forza Horizon leads leave Xbox's Playground Games to form a new AAA studio. They say some of the key talent behind Microsoft's Forza Horizon series has left Xbox's Playground Games to form a new AAA development studio called Maverick Games. The Leamington Spa UK-based outfit's founding team is led by former Forza Horizon creative director Mike Brown, who's serving as its creative director and studio head. The startup said it has secured significant seed funding, and its debut game will be a new premium open-world title for consoles and PC, although Tuesday's announcement didn't confirm if it's in the racing genre or not. Maverick's leadership also includes Chief Operating Officer Harinder Sangha, who was previously co-studio head of Sumo Digital Leamington, and executive producer Tom Butcher, who was formerly lead producer at Playground. Its chief technology officer Matt Craven was Playground's technical director. Its content director Gareth Harwood was technical art director at the Xbox studio, and audio director Fraser Stachin held the same role at the Forza developer. Ex-Playground studio art director Ben Penrose is Maverick's art director, while former EA Experience design director Ellie Marshall is the company's UX/UI director. Our goal is for Maverick Games to be a studio people will love, said Brown. For players, we're already at work on an exciting, ultra-high-quality title, and for developers, we're building a home where everyone is encouraged to take risks, be curious, be creative, be innovative, be themselves, and above all, be a Maverick. So yeah, I figured this was something I would cover because this may end up being quite significant depending on what this team is able to do. The significance of this, in my opinion, lies in the fact that for many years now, in my opinion anyway, and I believe many people will share this opinion, is that Playground Games has been the best studio underneath Xbox for quite some time. They have been the most consistent when it comes to quality. Now, to me, the most interesting thing here that we still need to find out is whether or not this is going to be a racing game. I want to say it's not going to be, because I don't see why all of these individuals would want to leave a studio that makes one of the best racing games in the world to then make another racing game. To me, that just doesn't add up. I think if they left, especially, en masse like this, it's because they all have a desire to do something different. And I have to imagine this is quite a significant blow for Playground Games and for Xbox. This is quite a bit of talent all leaving at one time. I mean, most of the individuals we just named are, leads in their respective fields. So yeah, we'll have to see how this may or may not affect the next Forza Horizon game, but this is going to be multi-platform, and whatever they're making is likely going to come to PS5 because they do mention consoles. Who knows? Maybe Sony will even want to start talking to the studio and maybe strike something up. Again, these are veteran, talented developers. We know that that is something Sony's very interested in. So let me know your thoughts on that Moving to the next topic, we're talking about God of War Ragnarok. It's been a little bit since we talked about this game, but we have some good news here. Reading from PlayStation Universe, it says Sony Santa Monica's critically acclaimed God of War Ragnarok has reclaimed the #1 spot on the UK all-format chart, becoming the first chart topper of 2023. As previously reported, the game was also the final #1 in the UK for 2022. That's despite the fact that sales were down 36% week on week, although it was a pretty uneventful week all the same, with FIFA 23 holding tight in second place in a period that saw no new releases. Physical sales were down 47% across the market week on week, with the week prior seeing them dip by 52%. So in general, things are down. It's the beginning of January, but I thought it was worth mentioning this because seeing God of War Ragnarok still hold on to that #1 spot and coming out ahead from big titles like FIFA 23, Modern Warfare 2, I think that's good, and I think it's a good sign for the tail of this game. I don't think anybody had any doubt that God of War Ragnarok would continue to sell really well. It did set a new record for PlayStation Studios, by selling over 5 million units within its first week. So at this point, I'm going to be curious to learn about when it hits the 10 million mark. I have no doubt that Sony is hoping it will set a new record for that as well, and they would like to announce that. So I'll be sure to keep you guys updated. Moving on from that, continuing to talk about sales, I have just an interesting tweet that I came across from Game Industry's Christopher Dring. He says, there is a popular fanboy argument that games like God of War Ragnarok and Horizon Forbidden West did well because they had official hardware bundles, but that's just not true. Those bundles certainly helped, but they didn't account for anywhere near the majority of sales. And I wanted to cover this because I think it's nice to see somebody in the industry who would have insight into this kind of shutting this narrative down. I'm sure many of you have seen this narrative. The reality is PlayStation's exclusives continue to sell incredibly well. That being, something that Sony has not strayed away from, nor has the player base strayed away from. It's a mutual thing here. And I have seen quite a few people, when we're hearing about sales numbers and we're seeing, as we just saw, God of War top the charts, people claiming that this is simply just because of the bundles. And to me, that always seemed a little bit silly. Like, I just don't believe that for a second. That's implying that there are, 30 plus million PS5 owners right now that are not going out and buying these games. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. And so it's just nice, in my opinion, to kind of have this shut down. And so, hopefully people will stop referring to that with future bundles for like Spider-Man 2 and whatnot, but something tells me they won't. Anyway, continuing on here, we are talking about The Last of Us HBO and how it's apparently getting glowing reviews, which I think is good. There's always nervousness when it comes to adaptations like this. Are they going to mess it up? Are they going to ruin it? Seems like with The Last of Us HBO, they've done quite the opposite here. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says The Last of Us HBO series Season 1 reviews are out, and the show has been unanimously showered with praise by critics. Although the general public won't be able to see what the buzz is all about until Sunday, January 15th, Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann has thanked fans for their support. The Last of Us is one of the best video game adaptations ever, according to Vanity Fair. It stays true to the game and hits just as hard, per the Washington Post. Other outlets echoed similar sentiments. To all of our fans, you've been on our minds every step of the way, Druckmann said in a video message. You are the reason we have this crazy job where we get to make amazing games and now an amazing show. I hope you love it as much as we do. According to critic score aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, The Last of Us HBO series Season 1 currently stands at a whopping 100% on the tomato meter. It remains to be seen how fans respond. And so I do want to update that. There have been more reviews that have come out, 45 critic ratings, and it's sitting at a 96 on Rotten Tomatoes, which is still very good. So, in general, it seems like this show is really looking good. It's seeming like it's going to be a great show, and it stays true to the core of the game, which to me is the most important thing when it comes to anything I may be paying attention to when it comes to what reviewers are saying. It's exactly that it stays true to the essence of the game, and to me, that's what's going to matter most. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching this. Let me know if it's something that maybe you plan to watch as well. I mean, I've asked you guys that question many times, so let me change that. If you're somebody who wasn't planning on watching it, seeing how well it's reviewing and hearing all the positive praise it's getting, does that make you any more interested in watching it? Or are you still just like, no, I'm going to pass on it? Let me know. We're moving on to the final topic, which I think is quite a significant one, because we have the director of Final Fantasy XVI straight up denying that this game is going to be releasing on PC in 6 months. Reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says Final Fantasy XVI will not be ported to PC 6 months after its release on PS5, at least according to the game's director Naoki Yoshida. While he didn't rule out the game becoming available on PC in the future, he did also tell those who wanted to play Final Fantasy XVI soon after its release to consider buying a PS5 console. Final Fantasy XVI has only been confirmed for PS5 so far and will be released at some point in 2023. The game has a release date of June 22nd, 2023 and can be pre-ordered. However, previous Final Fantasy PS5 exclusives have been released on PC at a later date, such as Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade. Remake Intergrade became available on Steam and Epic Game Store just 6 months after its release on PS5, but the game made its debut on PS4 nearly 18 months before that, with Yoshida revealing Final Fantasy XVI will not be coming to PC a mere 6 months after its initial launch on PS5. There's every chance PC players will end up waiting a year or more to play the game. And so this was actually originally reported by Genki Japan over on Twitter, and he says, quote, "Nobody said a word about a PC version releasing. Why is it like a PC version is releasing 6 months later? Don't worry about that. Buy a PS5. Laughs. Sorry, I went overboard. We did our best, so please look forward to it," end quote. That is a translation from Genki from Yoshi P. So yeah, I mean, to me, this is worth covering because I think were under the impression, and to be honest, I don't even remember where it came from, that Final Fantasy XVI was going to be a PS5 exclusive for 6 months, and then after that, release on PC. But now he is, the director is straight up coming out and saying, yeah, I don't know why people are saying that. It's not coming to PC in 6 months. If you want to play it, buy a PS5. He doesn't say that it's not coming to PC. Of course it will at some point, but this makes me wonder, like, was it initially a 6-month deal and then Sony decided to extend it to a year? Was it always a year? Is it longer than a year? I don't know, but something is clear at this point, and that is that Sony, as well as Yoshi P, is, telling people you should go buy a PS5 if you want to play Final Fantasy 16. That's pretty much what it boils down to. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that. That's going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. Leave it a like if you did. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.